Welcome to the Pot Live Podcast. I'm your host, Lenny G, and I can't believe it. We've already broken through 100 episodes. We want to thank you, the listeners, thousands of you that have sent beautiful comments, beautiful notes to us. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy it. This next year, we're going to bring you the thought leaders, entertainers, trailblazers, CEOs of all the cannabis companies you want to hear from. People that are inventing new products, people that are bringing this cannabis industry to the mainstream. We are going to offer you education, value, and entertainment. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Looking for the only one-stop online platform in the cannabis industry? Then you have to check out MJ.com. MJ has it all. The latest news and trends, exclusive original content such as the MJ CEO interview series featuring celebrities and business leaders, and best of all, delivery of your favorite cannabis products straight to your front door. That's right, MJ.com now offers statewide delivery of your favorite cannabis brands directly to your home or office in California. Check out MJ.com today.
And we are back. It's Lenny G with another episode of the Pot Live Podcast. And today our special guest is Miss Mara Connacher. She is the operations manager of Relm Cannabis. They are located in Ontario, Canada, and they were one of the first legal cannabis retailers in Ontario, I believe. But Mara can tell us more. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your enthusiasm.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to have you. Thanks for taking the time today. And tell us a little bit about who is Mara Connacher. How did you get into this industry? Give us a little background.
Well, I had worked for a family-owned chain of like accessory stores, like a bong shop, back when I was in my early 20s. So it's kind of like where I first got really excited and passionate into cannabis and like just the cannabis culture in itself. And then I ended up leaving that place and going to college and doing a whole bunch of other stuff that was not cannabis related. And when I knew that cannabis was going to become legal and we were going to be able to have brick and mortars here in Canada and Ontario specifically, I really wanted to get my foot in the door. But as we kind of were just talking, we were one of the very first ones. There wasn't a lot. There was 5 that opened up in Ontario on April 1st, 2019. So it was a very, very, very small door I had to get my foot in. So what I ended up doing was I quit my full-time job with like a really good corporation to work as a part-time bud tender for Relm, because that's all they were hiring for at the time. So I started here as a part-time bud tender, and within a month or 2, I ended up getting promoted to a supervisor, and then I got promoted again to the operations manager, and then now I am the operations manager for the whole company, which is pretty crazy, but it was really, really fun and a really good experience. And I kind of like that my path here started off as a bud tender, because I find like to be a really good leader, you have to understand what your employees are doing. So
yeah, definitely. And so let's back up. So you're in the corporate world, traditional corporate world, let's call it that, for a while, and then you swapped into cannabis. So tell us, what did your friends and family think of the move?
Well, I'm very fortunate. Like, I have a very open-minded family. So, and they are like, I have always smoked cannabis and they know that. So they were really cool about it. I have my uncles like grow their own, like they're very, very cool. So everyone was very supportive and excited and had lots of questions for me. I definitely had some extended family that was kind of like, what is this? Like, they were not cool about it. They were kind of more conservative. They had a lot of questions. But through that, I was actually able to have a more in-depth and educating conversation with them about, you know, what legal cannabis was. And I think with having the legal title, we were able to have a better conversation and kind of educated them on why it's great. And I think I was able to change some of their perceptions on like what cannabis is. And it's not this like evil, like reefer madness kind of situation, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we're all trying to get rid of that stigma that's been around for decades, right? Now that it's going more mainstream and all over the world, actually. So was Relm in existence, or you were part of the startup crew of that, or did you come on board and they were an existing company? Tell us how Relm came to be.
So Relm is owned by a gentleman named David, and he was one of the lottery winners. So when Ontario first opened up the ability to open up brick and mortar cannabis stores, you filled out an application. I believe it was $75. Don't quote me on this. And you just filled out the application, you sent it on your merry way, and then the government picked 25 people out of that lottery.
For $75?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm located in Florida, and they're going for $40 to $50 million a license down here.
Well, Well, now, like that was the first pocket. So we were lucky to be part of the first 25. And we were actually one of the first 5 that were open on the deadline that you were supposed to be open on, which was April 1st, 2019, which was like super cool. But the first 25 was like a whole lottery process, and David won the lottery, and he, with the support of his brother, opened up the first one here in Burlington. And that's how, like, it was called Relm. That's how it was all started. And it was a very much like grassroots startup situation. And then through working there and the growing pains and realizing like there was so much more that was needed, I was able to like help them build the company to what it is now.
All right, tell our listeners, let's pretend I walk into a Relm dispensary or retail outlet and I see Mara and I go, I am completely new to cannabis. You know, I get some anxiety sometimes I have aches and pains. Walk me through how I pick the right product.
Yeah, of course. Like, so one thing that we really love that we do here is like, we really want our customers to educate customers on their choices. So like, if you were to come in and say, hey, I want something to really help me like sleep at night. First of all, in Canada, they have a lot of restrictions, so we can't give medical advice. It's strictly recreational. So if people come in like having like some sort of ailment, we always have to like disclaimer it with, you know, we're not allowed to give official medical advice, but I can tell you what works for me. Yes. Which is really nice because we don't want to make people feel bad about the questions that they're asking, right? Like, especially a lot of people who are like canna-curious that are coming in for like the first time because they know that cannabis will help with XYZ.
Yeah, because it's intimidating the first time you go into one of these places if you haven't been before, because it's almost like, I mean, your stores from the pictures I've seen online almost look like an art gallery or like a sunglass hut, like just cool and sleek and not like cool looking and inviting. And then some of them look like Apple stores, you know what I mean? So it's interesting process, but you walk into these places and you can be intimidated. So yeah, go ahead with your thought. How do you tackle the intimidation of the newbie that walks in?
Yeah. So, and like, we kind of go over this with all of our staff, like anybody that comes onto our team and all of our existing staff, like we really want any customer that walks in, we want them to feel comfortable and we want them to feel like cannabis is approachable. That's our whole thing. We really want to be an inclusive retailer for, you know, your super inexperienced brand new user to, you know, somebody who's been smoking for like 25 plus years. And basically just by listening to the customer and really validating their questions and educating them, not just going, oh, you asked me for something so you don't get anxious. Well, here, take this. You know, we want to really tell the customer why this item's going to work for them and then what items to kind of avoid, you know what I mean, based off the things that they don't want to feel. I think education is really key in making cannabis more approachable, because then when people understand and know the whys behind things, it makes it a funner process for them.
Yeah, education's really huge, especially now, like we said, as everything's going more mainstream. All right, so let's role play a little bit, Mara. So, which that could go a bunch of different ways, Mara, but all right. So let's say I walk in and I just go, you know, sometimes I suffer from anxiety if I'm in a crowd, or it's tough for me to fall asleep at night. And that's really my only issues. What type of strain or what type of product should I try?
Well, we definitely would want to stay away from sativas for sure, because those are known to create, you know, some more cerebral, intense, anxious feelings with people. Like you go very much inside your own head, which would then, you know, perpetuate those anxious feelings. And then if you're looking to want to be a little bit more chill and, you know, have something that aids in sleep, we definitely would want to go with like an indica dominant hybrid or an indica for sure, because those are going to, you know, make you feel a lot more relaxed and chill out and not, you know, make you creative and you're in your own head. So you definitely would want to go with something that's a little bit more of an indica.
Sold. All right. Let's once again back up. So you opened in April of 2019 and the world was still normal back then. So tell us, you know, from pre-pandemic, that first year, almost a year, how was business? Was it difficult to get traction? Because I know there's marketing regulations in Canada that are probably a little different than the US as far as advertising, right?
Yes. So Canada, like the advertising, there's so many rules and like we can't entice people to come and shop with us. Like that's literally in the rules. There can't be any enticement. But we were so lucky with being one of those first 5 in Ontario that we actually got a lot of news coverage because we were one of the first 5 and we were the only dispensary in Burlington for quite some time. And there was a couple cities that were surrounding us that didn't have one. So we were able to get all of those customers. So from April 1st, 2019 till the pandemic hit, like we're busy all the time. Lineups like crazy. Like we were always busy. It is nonstop here, which is really, really great.
Excellent. And then, all right, then unfortunately the pandemic hits. And how did that affect you guys up north there from, let's say March of last year through now? We're recording this February 2021.
So when the pandemic first happened, we definitely got busy because people were panic buying. And we felt that, we got that. People were like stockpiling cannabis. And then where we are here in Ontario, we had to go into a lockdown, which when the lockdown first hit, they actually took cannabis stores off of the essential services list. So we were actually going to have to close our doors.
Well, the opposite of the US. It was named essential in the US.
Yeah. And then literally 3 days later, a bunch of people had come together to lobby to, kind of fight that. And luckily they were able to get through to our government and we were allowed to open, but only in like a curbside pickup capacity and delivery.
Wow. But at least you got to stay open. That's good. That was quick.
Exactly. Yeah. And we were still so busy. Like it was just, and we still are right now because we were really, really busy in the first lockdown. And then we were allowed to, they lifted the restrictions. We were allowed to be open to the public from, I think it was May until the end of December. And our traffic went back to normal. And then we are now in another lockdown and we are still so busy.
That's great. As business owners or workers, we never complain about busy because it could be dead, right? You don't want that.
No, exactly. And like sometimes, like, I don't know if this is a little bit off topic, but sometimes, it's easy to get caught up in the stress of your day and like, oh my gosh, like this is so much. And then I have to and I tell this to my staff as well, like bring ourselves back to reality that we're so fortunate during this time that that's our problem, is that we're so busy and so overwhelmed and it's chaotic here, but a lot of people right now can't say the same thing. So we gotta kind of count our blessings a little bit there.
And it's great because being idle sometimes is the worst thing you can be, so it's great to be busy. So that's good. Congrats to you guys. That's awesome. So why don't you walk us through the different types of products Relm offers? I see that, obviously you have flower. Do you have, I guess everything's legal in Canada. I'm not too familiar with it, but can you do vapes? Is it edibles? Is there CBD? Like what type of products do you offer?
Yeah, so Canada kind of was like, they did this like step-by-step process. So like when cannabis first became legal, it was just like capsules, oils, dried flower, pre-rolls was kind of like the extent of what we could sell. And then last year they did phase 2 of legalization. And then that's when they allowed for edibles, vapes, concentrates, beverages, and things of that nature to become illegal. So now we carry it all. We have dried flower, pre-rolls, vapes, concentrates, cookies, gummies, chocolates, sparkling water, and like other flavored kind of beverages.
Yeah. Are those beverages THC infused or CBD or both?
We have both. So yeah, there's beverages that are just THC infused, and then we have ones that are just CBD, and then there's also ones that are a balance. So like a 1-to-1.
Which products have been trending more popular and which have kind of started to lose a little popularity?
Everyone was super excited about the vapes because I think they're just so easy to use and like inconspicuous. So those are still doing really well.
Which is crazy during COVID, which is a lung disease, right? So, which is insane. Yeah.
I know. So those have been doing really well. And then dried flower is still always going to be like reign supreme. That's always going to be everyone's main choice. That's one of our top sellers and top performer categories. Beverages, I was a little bit like iffy on, but they actually do really, really well. And I was able to try some and I actually really liked them more so than I thought I would, which was
Do they work? They don't get you stoned though. They probably just chill you out. I haven't had one.
Well, I was like, I'm not an indica girl. I like hybrids, more like a sativa dominant hybrid. So I bought a sparkling water that was supposed to be sativa and I drank it and I like got myself ready to like read a book. And then 20 minutes into my book, I ended up passing out and I had a really long nap for the rest of the afternoon. So I think the beverages, like I liked it. It was cool to try and it gave me an unexpected like experience, but
is it more of an edible experience as opposed to a flower experience, I would assume?
Well, it's weird because I love edibles and like edibles make me like giggly and like laughy and like I'm super sociable and I'm having a great time and I don't usually get a crash with edibles. So I was kind of bummed out that I fell asleep with the beverage, but I just didn't think I was going to like it in general. but I didn't mind it, but I definitely did not want to pass out from it.
All right. So where can more people find out about Relm? Are you on, obviously you're online. Tell everybody the website, if you're on social, and how they can contact your team if they have more questions.
Yeah, of course. So you can find us at relm.cannabis on Instagram. That's where like most of our up-to-date information is going to be. And we do a really cool like Instagram live every Friday at 4 p.m. And like we have 2 of our budtenders that answer anybody's questions because like we want people to feel interactive due to the lockdown. So we have that on our socials. Our website is relm.ca, super easy, full of information, has all of our locations and soon to be locations. And if anybody wants to get in touch with us more, they can email us at info@relm.ca.
Yep. And everybody, Relm is spelled R-E-L-M.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So before we finish up, Mara, here's the question I usually ask all our guests. Give us one thing that concerns you about the overall cannabis industry and one thing that excites you.
Oh, that's a good question. One thing that concerns me is all of the parameters that legal cannabis in Canada and specifically Ontario have to follow. I think if they really want to combat the illegal side of cannabis with legalization, they have to like be a little bit more open-minded to releasing some of these restrictions that the legal retailers have to face. That's something that kind of worries me, and I really hope to see that like evolve and change over the next little bit.
That's super similar to here as well.
Yeah. And well, that's unfortunate, but kind of glad to hear that it's not just us sometimes. And one thing that excites me is just the growth, the possibility, how this is becoming so mainstream. Something that's been around for so long is now getting its spot on stage. It's just crazy to me. And like, we haven't really been able to see an industry with this much growth and potential, in terms of jobs and things like that. I think that's what really excites me about cannabis.
Fully agreed, Mara. Fully agreed. Well, Mara, thank you so much for taking the time today. Loved having you as a guest, and we hope that more people will learn about Relm Cannabis and give you guys some more business.
Thanks, me too. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. All right. Relm Cannabis, Mara Connacher, Operations Manager. Thank you for joining us, and we will see everyone next time on the Pot Live Podcast. If you are into the recreational side of the cannabis industry, yes, stoners, I'm talking to you, then thepot.com is the online and mobile destination for you. That's right, THEPOT.com, thepot.com. Where else can you find the exclusive Pot Mate of the Month? Take a pot quiz and win prizes. Scroll through hilarious memes and jokes and check out the latest podcasts, news, and trends, all while having your own profile and voice in the pot.com forum. Visit thepot.com today and get lit.